What's up, everyone? We are live at 5. It's Monday, February 4th. I'm Paul Wontorek.
And I'm Beth Stevens.
And over there, we have special guest, Caitlin Gallo.
Hello, everyone.
In the hot seat today.
I know.
And a really super talented guest
today.
Ooh,
I'm very Hollywood. Adam Shankman is here.
Adam Shankman.
Yay.
Amazing career story. I can't wait to talk to him about it, but he's directed some of your favorite movie musicals, and he has a new movie coming out this week called What Women Want that everyone's buzzing about. What?
Well, he's also the man behind the movie that we see the most in my house because my daughter's obsessed with Hairspray. We watch it.
Literally, didn't you say favorite?
Favorite of all time. Got her asking me about civil rights. It's deep.
But the movie's called What Men Want.
Oh, this new movie.
Yeah, but it's a remake. It's like a re-swirl of the Mel Gibson movie.
Yes.
What Women Want. That's why it's a natural mistake. I'm sorry. But first, today's top 5.
All right, we got some sad news this morning about a Tony-winning favorite.
Oh, we're talking about the band's visit. They have set their final performance date on Broadway on April 7th at the Barrymore Theater. I love this show. David Yazbek, Idamar Moses, David Cromer directed it. Katrina Lenk has been in it the entire time.
Yeah.
They're going out on top with a lot of original cast members.
They won like every Tony.
They won 10 Tony Awards.
Yeah.
That's not the record, but it's really up there. The Producers is the winner of that record.
Most Tonys. Okay.
Most Tonys, and Hamilton, and then Hello, Dolly, and Billy Elliot. And the band's visit are all tied with 10. It will have played 36 previews and 589 regular performances at the time it closes.
Now, you know I love statistics.
Well, I just gave you a whole bunch.
Don't mind me sharing, because a lot of people were like, wait a minute, how did a Tony winner for Best Musical, why is it closing so soon?
It happens.
Well, I mean, and it's obviously a very small show.
Yep.
With not a brand name people know. So I thought, well, wait a minute, what other shows? So I had to do a little digging.
Oh,
so I looked over the last 50 years of Best Musical winners to find out what the shortest running Best Musical. I don't want to bring the room down, but
you're going to.
The shortest running musical was in 1994, Passion.
Oh, yeah.
Sondheim, 280 performances. The second was 1968, Hallelujah Baby, a musical not very many people know. Adam Shankman knows it. 293 performances. Third shortest running Best winner, Sweeney Todd.
This is why they become cult favorites.
557 performances. Fourth, Fun Home.
I knew that one.
Which was recent. Yeah. 583 performances. And Band's Visit will be the 5th shortest running Best winner, Tony. So
go see it. You've got until April
for your cocktail party tonight.
All right, we got some more casting for the very starry The Scarlet Pimpernel concert at Lincoln Center.
Yeah, so they're doing. We've been talking about this.
We have been.
The Frank Wildhorn musical, and Tony Yazbek and Laura Osnes are the leads. And now we found out the fantastic Alex Newell. Mama's still providing.
He can do everything.
Now, I don't really know these characters. I just remember there's a bunch of fops. It's like Scarlet Pimpernel. I just remember it's a lot of
fops.
A lot of wigs.
Sure.
Kevin Duda, John Tracy Egan, Kevin Kern, Alicia Roman, Ashley Lauren, and Yasmin Suleiman are all joining the cast. It's on February 18th at 8 p.m. at David Geffen Hall up at Lincoln Center. It's going to be a great night.
What talent.
All right, you're going to want to get your head, your fingers, your toes, all of your body into the game at 54 Below.
Oh, you're really into this?
I was the only one that really tried out today.
My generation, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. They're doing the High School Musical in concert. This is not the first time they've done it. They do the whole trilogy at Feinstein's 54 Below on March 4th.
They do it as a trilogy?
No, they do all
They
pieces
do all
from
of them,
yeah,
like
all
regularly?
Of them together.
I didn't know that.
They've done it before, 7 o'clock and 9:30. Now listen to who will be involved. Jelani Remy, who you'll next see in Ain't Too Proud. Of course, he was our vlogger when he was in The Lion King. Taylor Amon Jones, who has a big voice. She was in Head Over Heels. Just a whole cavalcade. I'm going to use that word. Cavalcade of young and rising stars, including...
Hey, I see someone good. Celia Gooding.
Who is going to be in, or was in
Well,
Jagged
she
Little
wasn't.
Pill.
Hopefully she'll be in Jagged Little Pill.
And of course
LaShawn's daughter. We love LaShawn's, and we love the whole family.
We love the whole family. So a lot of great... Listen to what they say to let us know. They say the concert your preteen self has always needed.
So
maybe in your
we are so not the target age.
I think I was in my 20s, but it doesn't matter.
I assume there's not much choreography. It's a little stage.
I think it's a little stage. Maybe some
singing, a lot of
handography. Who knows?
Who knows? All right, and we got news of a new bio musical we think is bound for bound for Broadway.
So Ken Davenport, who is a producer who just won the Tony for Once on This Island last year, announced that he bought the rights for the story of Harry Belafonte. Deo.
I knew you were going to do that.
That's his big
you
song,
have to, right?
and it's featured in this season's Beetlejuice.
Oh, look at you knowing
Yep,
things.
you'll see that. But yeah, he bought the rights, and Harry Belafonte got his start on Broadway. He started by winning a Tony Award for a review no one remembers called John Murray Andrews' Almanac. That was like the first thing he did. And it catapulted him to Hollywood. He was in the movie Carmen Jones, which is fantastic. Island in the Sun, Odds Against Tomorrow. He was a big part of the civil rights movement. He won Grammys, an Emmy, a Grammy Lifetime Achievement.
He's an icon.
Yeah, he's an icon. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes of it. No more information is known yet about creative members, but it's going to be a good...
Interesting story.
Yeah.
All right, and last but certainly not least, we have a new vlogger.
We have a new vlogger starting tomorrow. George Salazar of Be More Chill will be our vlogger for 8 whole weeks.
What's it called?
Running every Tuesday. It's called Pac-Man Tattoo, which is a lyric from the show.
Okay.
Also a real thing because George actually got a tattoo on his
Because
arm.
of the show.
Because of the lyric in the show, yeah. He plays Michael in the show. You probably already know that because there's a rabid
He's
fan
in the
base.
bathroom.
He's in the bathroom. Michael is in the bathroom. George is in his dressing room with his vlog camera. So look for that tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Beth. Hey, Caitlin, why don't you tell everyone about today's guest?
All right. Emmy nominee and recipient of the Bob Fosse Award, Adam Shankman has made a name for himself as one of the most diverse and sought-after filmmakers in Hollywood. As no stranger to the silver or small screen, he has enjoyed success as a director, producer, choreographer, and author in a career spanning nearly 3 decades. He is the director and executive producer of Paramount Pictures' What Men Want, coming out this Friday. Shankman's fresh take on the romantic comedy What Women Want stars Taraji P. Henson, who, if you don't love her, then you're wrong. The film allows a female sports agent unjustly passed up for a promotion to a male cohort, and she is given the ability, after I'm sure some crazy coincidence, to read men's minds. You might have also be aware of his amazing film Disney's Enchanted, which stars Amy Adams, James Marsden, Patrick Dempsey, and our favorite Idina Menzel. And previously, Shankman directed the movie musical Rock of Ages and also directed, choreographed, and executive produced Hairspray, starring John Travolta, Zac Efron, and Nikki Blonsky as Tracy. Please welcome Paul and Adam.
Hello, Adam Shankman.
Hey, Paul,
so
thank
nice
you
to
for
finally
having me.
meet you.
Thank you.
I follow you on Instagram, but it's nice to see you in,
You do?
in 3 dimensions. Yes, I know your dogs. I know those dogs.
Charlie and Lola. Lola's a monster.
You are very Broadway adjacent.
I am. I mean, I'm very Broadway. I mean, I thought my life was going to be on Broadway. All I ever wanted to be was a chorus boy. So that was my high aspiration, and sometimes it still is. Things didn't work out that way, but every time I go to the theater, I'm looking at it, I'm going like, I could have been up there.
I think it's so interesting that you actually did get your start that way in musical theater. You went to Juilliard, right, as an actor and
for a minute, I got in for both, but I ended up going to dance for a while. But chorus boys weren't really what they thought they were grooming over there, and that was tough for me, to be candid. Like I was like, I don't think I'm going to enter into the modern dance world, and so I left and started my musical theater career, and then that ended. And, well, it didn't end so much as I ended it, moved back to Los Angeles for a second, got into music video thing, and then ended up choreographing that. And
it's really that was the path, right? You were in some great music videos, but a music video people would really love to watch right now because it's amazing.
What, Escapade, the Janet Jackson
really good.
one?
Yeah, I'm just saying there's more than one.
I mean, there's some stuff, but I was I danced for Paula, Abdul, and Janet Jackson. So that was a thing, and then I did the most important kind of stepping stone that I did was I did the Oscars for Paula Abdul in 1990. She choreographed them. And then I wasn't getting as much work. I didn't look like what was happening in chorus boys then or backup dancers. I was definitely not hot. And and I, I've lied my way. I was in a production office and somebody, said, "Oh my God, we just lost our choreographer. Does anybody know one?" And I turned around and I said, "I'm one," and I lied. And they said, "Can you meet the director immediately?" And I lied, and I said, yeah, I've worked with Paula, Abdul, and Janet Jackson, which wasn't a lie. I just
Sure.
hadn't choreographed for them. And he was like, great, can you start work today? We need you to start casting. And I was like, yes. And I was pretty terrible for the first 5 years of my choreography career. I mean,
you
was,
choreographed a lot of movies. So you're
well, I
saying you're
choreographed
not-
a lot of the movies. Actually, is when I started kind of getting better because
Okay.
I was doing more narrative work and more
Okay.
musical theater type work. Just doing steps to music was never my strong suit. But
Okay.
character stuff was kind of
Right.
what I did better. I felt.
Right. And you've choreographed a lot of films, and
I've
now
done
you've
a lot.
directed a lot
I've
of films.
done
I mean, you
yeah.
really sort of rose the ladder.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
I did.
Chorus Boy does good.
Chorus Boy does good. Like when you're out promoting something, it's they force you to sort of reflect on what you've done, which is not a thing I tend to like to do because I think of any project that I've worked on as something that I did in a period of time, and I am not only no longer that person, but that thing is just a thing in my past, and it will always live in that space for me. And oftentimes I'll look back and go like all of us, I wish I could have done this differently. I wish I could have done that differently, but I didn't. So I
Right.
ran out of time basically,
Right.
and so I feel that way about all of it. But it is nice to kind of go oh yeah, I did do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Now let's talk about What Men Want.
Yes, What Men Want.
I flubbed the title because I remember the original.
The
was
original
fantastic.
was What Women Want. Yeah,
Right.
Nancy Meyers film.
Mel Gibson. It's sort of his most dashing. I mean.
Yes, that scene where he dances alone in the apartment is spectacular, and people are mortified that I did not put a dancing scene in the movie. But this movie did not call for that, and so I did not. And it wouldn't help the movie to just stick a dancing scene in there if
Right.
it hasn't earned its place.
But do you like doing comedy?
I love doing comedy. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been most of my career, other than Walk to Remember. It's been
Right.
almost all comedy, and
a lot of Walk to Remember fans, I'm sure, too, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a
yeah.
great
Walk to Remember was
team
I love
heartbreaker.
doing it. I want to do more drama, but I keep getting sucked back into
Well, you're too
comedy.
good at the comedy.
That's very kind of you to say. This one I think is probably my funniest.
Yeah.
This is. There are some I'll be in a theater watching this with people, and there's a sex scene that happens very early on in the movie where the pitch of the laughter gets so high that I get uncomfortable because I almost feel like what have I done? And it's great. I mean, in the world we live in right now, to have a place where we can all just get in a room and laugh together is a blessing. At least as far as I'm concerned. I need to blow up steam that way.
I've been in a lot of rehearsal rooms with Broadway musical comedies.
Yeah.
Where the whole team will be laughing hilariously at something, and then it gets in front of an audience, and the audience is just stone faced.
Yeah.
So I always wonder what it's like filming a movie.
Yeah.
When you're trying to find laughs and on the set, and
Yeah.
obviously have a very funny cast to work with. But does that same
terrifying.
thing happen? And then you go into and then the movie's done, and then suddenly you're showing.
There's
it to
actually
audiences.
a scene in the movie that, thank God, gets a really good laugh right now with Kellen Lutz. That with Taraji and Kellen Lutz, that when we actually put it together, when I first put it in front of an audience, it was not getting the laugh that it gets now, thank God. And the editor and I were like, because there's a big sight gag part of it, and it's very vulnerable for Kellen, and and I was like, this has to work. If this doesn't work, I got to cut it out. This would be terrible, but I didn't know exactly how to cut it out of the movie. It's sort of in a sacred space in the movie, and so we really had to work on that. And the last thing that's now in the movie, it suddenly, how we got it to work? We made it short. It was we
Right.
just cut up
Makes sense.
things but I'm a big one for when something's laughing, keep it going and keep it going and keep it going, milk that cow until it's dry, And so the sex scenes, they go on. There's a running joke in the movie where Taraji's friends are all telling her what a terrible friend she is, that they all are just, I let them, I said to the actor, it was Wendy McLennan-Covey, Phoebe Robinson, and Tamala Jones, and I said, can we swear on here at all? A
Sure,
little bit?
go for
Okay,
it.
so they're okay, so it's not even a big swear. It's so they're telling her what a piece of shit she is as a friend, and they all just sat there. I said, now just keep telling her different things, tell her how shitty a friend he is. And they were just talking over each other, and I let the camera run for 10 minutes,
Oh, wow.
and she just had to sit there while they're all telling her what a piece of shit she is. And I was wetting my pants. And the studio, when I put it together, it's not 10 minutes long in the movie now, but
Right.
it's long.
Yeah.
And And the studio was like, well, maybe we should cut that down. I was like, absolutely not. That's for me.
People
That's
love
for me.
it.
It makes me damn happy. You know, so anyway.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's, you know, but that's the process. And you know, if there's something really egregious or something, but comedies are hard because you're begging for laughs. And people are also, comedy has moved so much into streaming and all of that it's weird. Like, you don't get what rolling laughs like you do in theater when you're feeling that laugh in the theater. Like, it's terrible. When I used to be in plays and I was always sort of like the comic guy, like the little like funky sidekick or the
Who
little.
were you in West
like,
Side Story?
Well, the first time I did it, I was guitar, so I didn't
guitar. I love
speak.
guitar. It's
Yeah,
my favorite name.
and then I subsequently went on to be Arab forever.
Okay.
I'm
It's
assuming
a
because of the
promotion, I
Jew.
think.
Yeah, it was a big promotion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I got the big scene with anybody's. But
Right.
and I did a lot of productions of West Side Story. So, but when you're doing it and that laugh doesn't come, and especially if you're used to the laugh and it doesn't come, it is like you want to die.
Right.
Everybody says that. It's sort of like, okay, how am I just going to keep staying in the scene? Because when that show's not working, it sucks. It's like...
Do you have any desire to direct something on Broadway?
Of course. Yeah,
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
very much so. I mean, I've always thought that it's really interesting. I was always scared, like, because I find Broadway such a sacred thing to me. And I was always scared that like the Broadway world would never even have me. Like they wouldn't be open to me coming in. But theater's my first love. And, you know, it's actually Taraji's first love. It's where she's from,
really?
too. So we got to talk about, like, let me tell you how I explained her character to her in the movie.
Okay.
When I first took the job, I said, here's who you are. And I sent her a recording of Sing, Sing, Sing. And I said, this is you. This is you in the whole movie.
Wow.
This is this part of the song. This is where this happens to you. This is the part where this happens to you. And she took
That's
it and
amazing.
she emailed me back. She was like, "I know what I'm doing in this movie now." And so it was. We speak that language, and she understood suddenly. Like, oh, I'm that drum. I'm those horns. This is who I am. Do you know what I mean? And
Can you please bring her to us?
oh, I wish I.
Like,
Know,
what
she
does
is
she
out
do?
on the corner begging people to come see the movie right now. I got pulled in by you. I was lucky. She's out there with a tin cup going, please come see my movie right now.
What could she do? Are we looking for a meme or something? I don't know. Like,
Oh my God,
right?
she would be
I
so
mean, we need like
brilliant.
like a fun idea like that. On the box idea.
God, she would be so good as that. Oh my God, when I tell her, I'm going to.
All right, well, go work on that. Just give me an idea.
Oh my God, that is a fantastic idea.
I was so nervous walking into the movie theater to see Hairspray. You directed the movie of Hairspray. I loved it so much.
Imagine how I felt about making it.
I'm sure. I loved it so much on Broadway, and it was so different. There were so many things different about it. You know what I mean? It was a whole, I mean, casting-wise, obviously, and choreography, and just so many things, and just taking it into the real world. And it is so fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know if I could ever
God,
really
it's
think
such
of
a scary lead up. I was
two
like,
different versions of
Yeah.
something, and it's really such a fantastic movie.
When I got the job, I asked the studio to get me John Waters, because I don't know if your viewers know this. Like Mark Shaman and Scott Wiman are two of my oldest friends for 30 years. Like,
Right.
and I was like we were all together while they were writing it, and so I've been aware
Right.
of it since its inception, and I've been around it, and I always hoped and dreamed and that it was going to be me, and then it wasn't me, and I was really bummed out, and then it was me, and then it wasn't me, and then it was me, and then it finally was me. And I emailed John Waters, and I said, because you're not just dealing, especially with the musical.
Right.
The musical people don't even, a lot of them don't know the John Waters movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But movie people will know
Yes.
the John Waters movie. So I had to deal with the John Waters
You had to
movie
honor a
people.
lot of
I had
things.
to do the musical
Yeah.
people, and then I had to just make my thing. And
Yeah.
and I am a nervous person in that way because I want to please. I desperately want to please.
Right.
So I sent an email to John Waters that just said, "Dear Mr. Waters, my name is Adam Shankman, and I was just hired to do the movie version of the musical of Hairspray. I hope you don't mind. Best wishes, Adam Shankman." And within 5 minutes, I got an email back that said, "This is so fabulous. Where are you?" Now, I happened to be in Baltimore producing the first Step Up movie at the time.
crazy.
So I was
I'm
like,
down the block.
I'm in Baltimore, and he was like, lunch tomorrow. Well, cold sweat, panic, John Waters, the whole thing was all happening way too fast, and I was freaking out. We went to lunch. He basically said to me, Do not worry about what I did. Don't worry about what they did on Broadway. This is yours. This is the legacy of Hairspray. This is about do your own thing. You're fabulous. Do you. Be amazing. And by the way, do you want to go see where I shot the movie? And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, get in my car. We jumped in his car, and he drove me all around where they shot his version of the movie, and then showed me, like, took me on a tour of, like, where the people who he based the characters on lived. And all that. So, I mean, you want to go, like, it was like musical gay scanners. Like, my head just exploded. And but I took what he said to heart, just to honor what I felt was the right thing to do. And like the hardest thing, literally the first thing that I did was I called Mark and Scott and I said, guys, I think we need to cut Mama, I'm a Big Girl Now. And I was terrified about what they were going to say. And Mark just said, why? And I said, because I think in the movie, because the movie had to be like an hour shorter than the show. Yeah. So in the movie, I thought it was probably not a great idea to give Amber, Penny, and Tracy a common enemy in their mother right out of the gate. And whereas in the musical, it's a wonderful kind of like appetizer. In the movie, you would have been with all of like seeing those things in close-ups and all what that looked like. It felt like to me like the wrong thing to do. And Mark was like, yeah, I get that. No, totally fine.
Wow.
And I was like, thank you so much. And then I was like, can you write another song for Link that I can do choreography to instead of It Takes Two? Oh, yeah, sure. We always wanted to do something that was like an Elvis number. And I was like, great. Yeah. So that found that. And then I got in a fight with the studio because Mark and Scott had written New Girl in Town for the show. On Broadway. Didn't make it onto the show. But I said, I want to use it for the movie to help with this montage of Tracy, you know, becoming famous. And the studio was like, no, we cut it from the show and we didn't want it. And Mark and Scott just sort of sat back and I was like, that song's going in the movie. And actually one of the executives said, over my dead body. And I said, get your coffin ready because it's going.
I also loved, I'm a big Grease 2 fan, and you got Michelle Pfeiffer to do another movie musical. So thank you for that.
There was a lot of conversation about that. By the way, that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. She's
finally on Instagram, by the way.
What?
She's on Instagram.
What?
She just signed up for Instagram. You got to go
You're
look. It's great.
lying. I'm going to give her so much shit about that.
She's like, she's the clip up. I died. She put a Grease 2 clip up.
Are you?
I swear.
That is awesome. Oh, I'm gonna jump on that Instagram. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, you got to get on it.
Amazing.
Well, look it up immediately. It's good. But wait, I have to tell you something. You're also, people are going to be excited. You didn't direct Enchanted, but you are working on a sequel.
On the sequel too, which is much more of a musical.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a full,
and again, it's Menken
and
Schwartz.
It's Menken and Schwartz. Yeah. I mean, that's like fingers crossed. Like we're working on it now, and Amy is like, get me back in that frickin' Giselle dress, and you know, I mean, it's really. And I was just with Jimmy Marsden, and Adina was like, can I sing in this one? I was like, yeah, you can sing in this one. So it was like,
okay.
Oh yeah, everybody's
Adina's back and sing. Well, they cut her song the first time, I think. They cut one of.
They never shot it.
Oh, they never shot it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Adina singing. You're promising us singing Adina Menzel. That's big news for them.
I make Disenchanted, Adina Menzel will sing. If that happens, you know, we're working on it tooth and nail. I hope it is my next movie. If it's not, you know, hopefully it's one after that. But you know, I don't know.
All right, we have to let you go, but I hope you come back sometime because I can talk to you for hours. There's so much to talk to you about.
Oh, bless your
heart. What Men Want, What Women Want is on probably Netflix or somewhere. But What Men Want is in movie theaters this Friday. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Or hopefully maybe we'll see you on Broadway.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
Grease 3 or whatever.
Oh, God, no.
Thank you so much.
That ain't a thing.
Hey, Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. You can listen to this interview and so many others by searching #Live@5 wherever you get your podcast. To join us tomorrow as we are joined by Casey Garvin, who is currently in King Kong on Broadway.